So welcome to the show. I know obviously Scotland's pretty well established for churning out
Yeah.
some top-notch talent. So yeah, obviously you're probably going to be top of the next batch. So how's it going?
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. Thank you. Yeah, all good, man. Coming to an end of a good year for kind of wrestling, and Scottish wrestling, been down wrestling in England a lot this year, and got the chance to go over to like Denmark and stuff to
Oh wow.
wrestle with Copenhagen Pro Wrestling. So yeah, it's been a good year, man. There's a lot of like big names in Scottish wrestling coming out at the moment. So yeah, it's good to be a part of that. Same with just the whole like British wrestling scene. The amount of names coming out at the moment's crazy. Like it's hard to keep up with.
I think Scottish wrestling's sort of been smashing it consistently for like the last 10, 15 years. You know, we look at some of the names that have been coming out. You know, you just look at WWE at the minute. It's like three or four people, you know, originated from Scotland that learned the trade up there, you know, doing it on the stage of a more now. So that's mental.
Yeah, definitely. You've got like WWE pay-per-views where you see like two Scottish wrestlers wrestling each other these days. It's crazy. Like that takeover's coming up. You've got like Kaylee Ray and like Alba. I can't remember her WWE name, but she used to be Isla Dawn on the
Yeah.
Indies. Yeah, but like you've got like they're two Scottish women wrestling. You've got like so many like Scottish wrestlers and just like English guys in the mix right now. It's crazy, man. All
Well,
over.
you've got Drew, former world champ. You've got Nikki Cross.
Yeah.
Been crazy Nikki, which is awesome to see. You know, she's been allowed to do what she does best. So yeah, man, it's like, what's the scene up there like now? Has it added more pressure to it? Do you kind of feel, you know, you've got footsteps or big shoes to follow, or you just kind of approach it?
There's places everywhere, like all over Scotland. It's like a crowded scene for how like small Scotland is. There's like a lot of wrestling promotions up there. So that means like there's a lot of training skills. There's a lot of people coming out. So yeah, I'd say like even though like the success has been so big in the last 10, 15 years, now you've got like double the skills, double the people training, probably triple to there was 10, 15 years ago. So like it's crazy to think like what it's going to turn into in 10, 15 year time with all these names coming out there now.
So what kind of got you interested in it? What kind of started the itch? What made you want to sort of, was you just a fan from being a kid? Was it you're a really sporty kind of person and you thought, you know, this looks fun?
Yeah, for me personally, like I'd always just like liked wrestling growing up and stuff like that. I was always a fan. I'd done judo growing up for like a lot of my childhood. I'd done that up until I was like 16, until like the like later years of high school, and then I went on to college and stuff. I was like not doing anything like really physical at the time, and like I always liked wrestling, and I knew there was like schools local. By that time, I could drive, so I was like, why not just give it a shot and see what happens with it? And yeah, I've never looked back. It's become that serious addiction ever since, taking over my life.
That's what I was like to say, Brad. You mentioned during the intro about going over to Denmark. Was that your first venture out of the UK?
Yeah, that was the first one earlier this year. It was over in Copenhagen Pro Wrestling. It was against a guy called, funnily enough, I was the big strong man and he was called Mr. Power Up. So you can see how the theme of that match went. But yeah, he was
big men slapping meat, yeah.
Yeah, literally big meat slapping meat, yeah, the whole match. But yeah, that was one of my favourite matches. He's incredible. Like if you get the chance to check him out, I would highly recommend. He's from Sweden. He's just a different level. So yeah, it was good getting to wrestle one of their best.
What's the scene like over there? So I know I've had somebody on the show previously who was kind of like came from like Belgium originally, and they said they kind of some parts of Europe they try and keep it more kayfabe than what we kind of do, kind of thing. So I don't know if that's what it was like in Denmark, or if it was, you know, similar mindset to what you're used to.
For me personally, it seemed like the crowd wise, it was a very more like serious wrestling adult type crowd to what I'm used to. A lot of the shows I do, like the shows I've like really loved to do in general, are all like family friendly shows like Mega Slam Wrestling, where it's like all families and kids, they're all in it. Like it's, you know, they believe in it. Where like the show over in like Copenhagen, even though there were like some fans like that, it was more like your hardcore wrestling fans, if that makes sense. Like
what the
so
what
cool
negative
experience.
people call smart marks kind of thing. Those kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
in the know.
It was more
That's,
of the kind of crowds, yeah.
yeah, I think there's a good thing on sort of both. I think both crowds bring different things to the table, but I can imagine it being as good. You just got to know your audience, and I suppose you change your game.
100%,
What the
yeah.
audience, yeah, that's cool. Like you said with Mega Slam though, I suppose with the family shows at the Mega Slams, are you heel or face?
Um, with like Mega Slam, because it's like a touring company, it's really just kind of in the area. Like some places you've done shows there before and you were a villain, so they'll send you out as a heel and you're kind of remembered there as a heel. Other places they kind of like to, if it's somewhere new, they'll maybe like put you as a face to like try it out. It's kind of switches up. It's good, so you get like good experience doing both. Primarily,
Oh,
I would say I'm more heel down there, but like yeah, it's always that kind of chance to learn in new places and stuff as you tour it over.
I suppose at the family shows as well, you kind of have to ham it up a bit more, make it a bit more popular for the
Yeah,
kids. You like proper heel kind of thing. That's Dick
yeah,
Dastardly kind of, yeah.
it's my favourite stuff in wrestling. Like it's all about that for me. Like I just love the pantomime villain just going out there and like making a scene for 10 minutes and yeah,
So,
then doing wrestling.
I suppose it's the best of both worlds, isn't it? It's what
Yeah.
you like. It's like, but yeah, because I've just whenever I've talked to people, they sort of put shows down like that as being what helped them to create a character. Because you've
Yeah,
got to go, you've got to turn it up to 11 at family shows because you've kind of got to just totally
100%.
get the audience involved.
Yeah, no, 100%. You can't just go on and be like good wrestler on the type of shows because like everyone on the type of shows is a good wrestler, but then they've got like the actual character as well, which makes them stand out to the kids and the families. It makes them memorable. So yeah, 100%.
That's it. So yeah, you go to Copenhagen or that kind of thing. You just keep it
Yeah.
in the ring, keep it on the mat.
Oh
Do
yeah.
what you do medically sounds, and then yeah, the Mega Slams. It's cool to sort of be able to do both.
Oh yeah,
It,
100%.
it, it, so you said it's been a really good year this year for you. What's been your highlights this year? Where you been? What you been doing?
I'd say just in general, it's probably been just getting to like wrestle as much as I've got to wrestle this year in as like many different places. I'd say. I've been like to. I'd say I've been to like 3 different countries this year wrestling. I've done
Oh, wow.
yeah, well as well as wrestling in Scotland. I've done like Denmark. I've done wrestled in Ireland for the first time. I've done 6 shows over there. So like just getting to like wrestle so much consistently. Like I think I counted that up the other week, and I've done 90 matches this year. Where like
Wow.
last year I'd only had like 50 matches in the whole time wrestling. So I feel
Wow.
like just getting to wrestle that much and getting that much experience has probably been like my biggest highlight, honestly.
Oh no, definitely. I mean, especially like you hear in wrestling, you just get better and better the more you do it, the more you do it. So yeah,
Yeah.
pretty much doubled your matches this year compared to the previous year. I mean, it's only got to be a good thing for you, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, like experience wise, like it's just crazy like how much I feel like I watched matches for last year, which I was like really proud of at the time and that, and I'm just like, there's so many
Oh,
things in it where I'm just like, I can't. Even though like I think they're still okay and they would hold up on a good show, I'm just still like, nah. Why did they do it that way? Why did they do it that way? It's just, yeah, it's crazy.
that's it. So what was Ireland like? Because obviously Ireland's got quite a good history or legacy for wrestling as well. Obviously you had your Finleys coming out there, your Sheamuses.
Mhm. The crowds were like really good, honestly. Like it was all theatre type venues, so it was like one side. A lot of
Oh,
it was I'm not used to that as well, so it was like a good experience getting to just like wrestle to the one side. But yeah, the crowds were mad over there, like really, really good. Like the promoter was really happy. There was a bit of like an issue getting over to Ireland. We got the ferry over with the ring van, and because of Brexit, the ring van almost got took away from us. So there was a bit of trouble coming over. So we were a bit scared that we weren't going to come back over after it. But I think like after the shows, like everyone on the team, the promoter was really happy, and yeah, definitely hope to be back next year. But yeah, that was a fun story. And
Because
I just for free,
I was going to say, like with the theatre thing, like sort of saying, just performing to one side. I suppose that's as close as you can get to the hard cam. Pretty much.
Yeah, definitely.
Like wrestle for TV kind of thing.
Yeah, 100%. It was something like I've done a little bit of like wrestling on TV, like the shows I've done with like Copenhagen Pro Wrestling in Scotland and Denmark. They were both filmed for Danish TV. So I've done like a little bit, but I've not done loads. So still like getting to wrestle in the theatres is still like really good experience for when I do get more like kind of TV type wrestling. There's a lot of promotions with like on demand these days. So yeah, it's good experience to get like wrestling in the venues.
Well, it's been weird though, because obviously, like you go through your moveset, you go for a pin, but then remembering you got to be facing that way for the pin. I presume you obviously really should be looking out at the audience when you go for a pin, as opposed to having your back to them when you're going for a pin kind of thing.
Yeah,
like that.
I've done that a few times. I'll kick out and I'll like this big reaction, and I'll come round and there's nobody there. Sure. And I'll come round again and make the same face if but yeah, it's one of the ones.
Like I say, man, it's a learning curve. 50 matches last year, 90 matches this year. 180 matches next year, hopefully. It's just what's the dream? What's the you've been in the UK, you've been to, well, you said Ireland and Denmark. What was the other country? You said you went to 3 countries.
Yeah, I've done Wales as well, and then Scotland. So that's 5. Yeah, I done Wales at the end of last year, I think, just before 2022. Yeah, I think that was 2021. I done it. Yeah.
Where did you go to? Was it sort of Cardiff? Was it?
It was Prestatyn in Wales. It was at the show for WAW. It was like a type show, yeah. A few of them. So yeah, that was in Prestatyn in Wales. If that's how you say Prestatyn.
So yeah, Wales is another country where there seems to be it's kind of growing. It's not quite where Scotland is at the minute, but Wales does seem to have a few really good promotions down there. They're churning out some really good talent as well.
Yeah.
So I'll be nice to Wales this week because I kind of slagged them off last week, so I'll bring them up this week. So but yeah, man, that's like I said, it's just going onwards and upwards. But where you're looking at, you're obviously looking at like your ICWs, your progressors, looking at sort of promotions like that down the line.
Yeah, man, just whatever really. Like it's wrestling so big. There's so many promotions these days. So yeah, it would be good to get on like your ICWs, progresses. There's a lot of like up and coming companies like in England. Then now as well, like your Solve Pros look good. They've only done a few shows. I'm trying to think who else. There's so many like Wrestle Carnival. You've got like Discovery Wrestling in Scotland as well. So yeah, there's like a lot of like big companies now. But like at the moment as well, I'm still like really happy with what I'm doing. With like Mega Slam Wrestling, Copenhagen Wrestling and stuff like that. Pro Tour Wrestling's another company in Scotland I've been working with. So it's like I have been like really busy with wrestling. So it's just like try to keep that up and hopefully get more opportunities with the places I'm working with now, and hopefully get a few more future bookings as well outside of that.
Is the Copenhagen thing like a regular thing then? Are you sort of going backwards and forward?
It's with like Copenhagen Pro, it's like started to run shows in Scotland now as well as Denmark. So it's from 2 different like countries in kind of the same promotion, so it's kind of different. So I've been working. I did a show for them in October in Scotland. That was my second show. I know they've got one coming up next March. That's still to be announced. So I'd keep your eyes out on that on their page, Copenhagen Pro Wrestling.
Okay, cool. I'll post a link on the video kind of thing. Well, yeah, that's cool because I've never really heard of that before. You know, like promotion, barring like your big ones like New Japan's got Japan and America kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Copenhagen to be running shows in Denmark and in Scotland as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, and it's like they're bringing over Danish talent, they're bringing over like international talent to Scotland as well. On the last show, I think there were like talent from 9 different nations all on the
Wow,
one show. So yeah, it's
that's
cool
awesome.
being in that room as well.
Yeah, okay, yeah, I like the sounds of it. I'll check them out because that's definitely
Yeah,
something different. You don't come across that very often. With
yeah,
your
it's
promotions
the
at
new
least.
definitely.
Okay, cool. So what's I'm trying to think of the best way to put this or word it in the sense of like because obviously you're still quite young. How long have you been learning? How long have you? When did you first step foot into a ring?
I started wrestling training in 2017. It was in a place in Airdrie. Um, Funnily enough, I started training on like the mats when I first started. That was in 2017. I was 19. So my first like couple of years up until really like coming back to after the pandemic, I was training on mats. I had my first wrestling match in 2018. I'd got like ring time and stuff at shows and stuff like that before, but like I'd never wrestled a lot in a ring. So I'd say like I started like learning how to wrestle in a ring when I started going on shows.
Right.
But obviously I trained on mats and stuff. And then yeah, I'd say about 20 well after lockdown I started training somewhere with a ring called Respect Pro Wrestling. And now I train at the LKS dojo, which in the Iron Girders gym in Glasgow.
Cool. How did you find it going from the mats to the ring then? If you'd never actually sort of trained, because obviously, I mean, hitting the ropes and things like that, it's got to be a
Yeah.
massive part, of your learning.
Yeah, it was like when I started anyway, it was a lot of like fundamental type training. Like it was your old school British wrestling, a lot of technical wrestling, chain wrestling, whatever you call it. But it was like a lot of that kind of stuff. You did do
Okay.
your like bumping and stuff like that as well, but it was on a crash mat. You sometimes do like training matches on the mats, which were fun, like running off and like hitting pretend ropes and stuff. But it was just like simulation of a ring. But obviously, when you get in a ring, it's different as well because you need like your ring positioning and you need to know where you are and stuff. And hitting the ropes is something you need to learn. So yeah, over time, I just think I got like better at doing it with experience. But I mind my first few matches, I was like in the ring hitting the ropes, like, oh, am I doing it right? Kind of just second guessing myself. But nobody ever really like said anything, so I think it was okay.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Then that's fine. But as we've said a few times, it's all learning curve anyway. Like you said,
Yeah,
you looked at matches from last year compared to this year, and you pick them
yeah.
apart. I'm sure next year you'll be looking at matches from this year, and be like, no, that wasn't right. Should have done that there. Did you come into wrestling with sort of like a hero in mind, somebody that you was trying to embody, or did you just sort of just want to be yourself, or did you sort of look at some of the other big guys and be like, okay, right, that works, that doesn't work? Um, yeah, you kind of got like a mold for who you.
I always liked your like character type guys. Like I was a big like the Miz fan. When it comes to like British wrestling, I was like a big like Kirby fan. I was a big like fan. I like Gradle. I like Spud. I liked all the kind of character guys.
Yeah,
I was always like even like to this day I'm more into like that side of wrestling than like the physical side. Like MGF's my favourite now just because like his promos are like
fire.
mental. So
Yeah,
like I always wanted to be like that kind of like pantomime type like villain. So I would say like that's how I came into it really. Like I knew like by my kind of like size and like structure and stuff, I was never gonna be like Goldberg. Do you know what I mean? I was never gonna be, a guy like I think like I wasn't gonna be like Roman Reigns. Do you know what I mean? Like
yeah,
because they guys are just yeah. So I always like liked yeah they kind of character like over the top. Eric Young's another good example, like
yeah.
his TNA stuff, like back in the day when he was
Well,
like
yeah.
super. Yeah, there's always like wacky guys like that. I wanted to be like.
Start falling over at the pyro and stuff like that, like you
Yeah,
said.
yeah,
Sort of thing.
yeah.
I tend to mention this a lot on my shows for some reason. I'm not sponsored by them. I'm not get paid by them. But if you don't check out the William Regal podcast, I would highly recommend it for just little bits of information. Called General Villain. Regal does.
Yeah.
Just little bits of information, nuggets of things that it gives out there on because I think Regal's highly regarded as being probably the most facially expressive wrestler that I could think of, and just learning to react and do stuff. And I think when you're talking about character wrestling and stuff like that, that just raises the bar. So, I had a guy on a while ago called Chucky Thunder, who's probably is very big character wrestling in the UK, and he was sort of saying, it's very hard because it's very easy to get lost just being known as a character wrestler and not actually any credit as being able to wrestle. So you got to be very good at both.
Oh yeah, that was like something I learned like early in. Like you can't just be funny. Like you need to actually like step up the wrestling and like be able to do a few flashy things to get the crowd on your side. Like all the great character guys I just mentioned, like they're all great wrestlers. Like people might not talk about their wrestling as much as their funny stuff, but like they are all amazing wrestlers. And I do think like in the ring and stuff, I try like hold up that end of the bargain just as much. But yeah, like there's guys out there who are just like crazy as well in ring, who it's like super flippy. And you're like, oh, I can't do that.
I'll see, mate. But you worked to your strengths, so you like you say it'd be very it'd be unique as well to see a big strong man who's a character as well, kind of thing. Because normally they just very much rely on just being the big strong dude. You don't get much of a character with it, so I think that in itself is very very unique and memorable.
I like when I first came up with the idea, I had the envision where they hear the big strong man and like they picture someone like Adam Maxted walking out, and then they get like me coming out in a singlet, screaming my head off, and they're just that was the original kind of go-to, and it's just developed from there, I would say.
That's quality. Just totally sort of heel, just be like, that's not, You build it up to this, and then they get this kind of thing. It's like, So, well, we'll talk. Obviously, characters are generally always, remembered for like the promo work. You just mentioned MJF's current run at the minute, his promos. I'm a massive MJF fan. I know any AEW talent kind of splits people 50-50. You get people who just hate on people because they're in AEW. We get people who love it because we're in AEW, and I think you've got the good people who just enjoy wrestling. It doesn't matter what promotion they're on; they'll just like whoever's good and whoever's at the time. I'm a massive fan of MJF. His work at the minute, his promo skills. Do you study like promos? Then do you go back? Have you got like a bunch of promos that you really really like, and you kind of look at how they do it?
There are like a few I've got. I wouldn't say like a study. Like I sit down with like notepads and stuff and like write it down and that. But like I do just like constantly watch wrestling. Like I'm not a big like sports fan in general. Like I don't watch football these days. Like all I really do watch is wrestling. So like I'm constantly watching wrestling. So I don't feel like I ever need to really go back and like study to I like to watch like the current product. Like I know those guys who like to go back. Like I like old school wrestling as well, and I like going back and watching old wrestling sometimes. But I'm more into like what's happening now and like what's more relevant current day, and kind of keep up with like the general day wrestling as well. So I watch like all kind of types of wrestling. I don't get the whole like AEW v WWE thing. Like it's good. It's not two big companies. Like
it's not football. You don't have to pick a side and support that side.
It's crazy to me. Like, fries my head.
Good wrestling is good wrestling. There's got to be good and bad on every show because it's got to cater for a wide variety of people. You're not going to like everything on everything, but you shouldn't like everything. So obviously we mentioned MJF's promos then. So modern days, I think Sami Zayn deserves a shout out. I think whatever he does on the mic is gold.
It was like his NXT run back in the day was like one of the best, like kind of underdog runs.
Yeah,
Where it's
the underdog.
kind of come back up, because like for a few years it was like on the main roster, but it was relevant, but it wasn't like, it
Yeah,
wasn't realized as much as it could be. Like now he's just like the best thing in the company.
I think it's because Triple H understands how to use him,
Yeah.
and like just that underdog aspect. There's no wrestler barring Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson, who has that underdog sort of mentality, or thing about aurora about him, where you can just like, I'm on route for this guy no matter what.
Yeah.
Sammy's got that. When the bloodline turn on him, I think that's then going to launch the whole underdog thing again. He's got whether he goes for the world title or not. I think I've said it before once. I think him and Owens will get the tag titles, at Mania or something like that. But that's that underdog. Yeah, I think the fans are going to go nuts. It's Sammy.
It's crazy how he's like worked himself into that position where like people are talking about him beating Roman style. It's So
it's testament to the guy. I mean, you would have on paper, you just like, there's no way he should work in WWE. But yeah, like I say, I think under Vince, he kind of just floated around. He had the whole conspiracy thing. But yeah, now Trips is there. You're going to find guys like that get sort of pushed a bit more. I think now the guys that have actually got something to offer. I think Sammy on the mic is gold. MJF on the mic is gold. Trying to think of other modern day promo stars, because I kind of grew up, obviously prior to you, obviously I grew up watching the Austins and the Rocks, those guys on the mic, and I think Moxley's.
I think Mox gets like, he has that thing where like people either like him or like they're like, oh, I hate Mox, he can't wrestle, can't do this. But I think like he's been great in AEW. Like he's run, like, I wasn't the biggest Dean Ambrose fan in WWE. I thought it was a bit good. I liked I thought he was a good wrestler. I liked the Shield. I grew up not grew up, but like I was watching in high school during that time. So like, I can kind of like see why people like that Dean Ambrose, but at the same time, like he's running AEW with the title and everything he done. Like he's just been good and consistent. Like it didn't get boring for me. So I don't know. But like wrestling's subjective, I think. So everyone has it.
Like I said, that's why every good promotion should have some stuff on it that you don't like. Somebody else will like it, and then the stuff you like they won't like. But I think Mox, I think the guy, tons of credit for the guy cancelling holidays left, right, and centre to keep carrying the world title. So hopefully, I mean, this is the nicest way. I don't see him on the screen for a month or so. Let the man have a holiday, and then let him come back with paid kind of thing.
So he's just one of the ones where he just wants to keep doing it forever. So he just won't stop. Him and Brian.
It's the passion, man. I don't know if you sort of read or listen to like wrestling autobiographies, if that's your sort of thing. But I've got a load on. I'm lazy. I don't read them. I've got them on Audible, so I just listen to them while I'm working. So I listened to Mox's recently, and just his autobiography, man. You can just tell the dude lives and breathes. Anyone who does that deathmatch stuff has got to be, just 100% mental.
Crazy, man. It's not a mass treat.
You're not going down that avenue, no?
But like some of them are just like, why? I just couldn't imagine like waking up. Like I do shows sometimes, and I'm like after like 3 shows, I'm like beaten up, and I'm like, oh god, and I'm doing like these, like family shows that are entertaining. Like you are taking big bumps and stuff, but it's like then you see these like deathmatch shows, and like people are putting forks in each other and stabbing each other, and you're like, they need to go to work the next day. Like, not a fan of that. Unless you're getting paid like John Moxley money, then maybe.
Oh yeah, now I think most of these guys only get paid like like bare minimum, don't they? Kind of thing. It's just like it's like a real life Fight Club. They're just doing it. I think just to.
Like, that's what I mean. Like I think you need to be brave to just kind of be like, okay, I'm just gonna take like £50, go out and just take a bump into like a flaming barbed wire thumbtack table, Do you know what I mean? Like, but there's people out there who love that and
Yeah,
respect. They're entertaining. It's good to watch, but I'd
not
be scared.
yeah. It's
I don't-
yeah, I can't fault you for it, man. Like I say, I think every now and again, you know, when it's done properly, I enjoy watching those matches. I couldn't just watch those matches. You know, I think it would drive me nuts. But yeah, occasionally, it's got a time and a place. So,
Mhm.
but it's not for. Well, saying that, it's not for everyone, man. I don't know how far back, you know, you've watched, you know, from the wrestling. But I'm gonna say a match that I think happened in 2000. So it might have been just before your time. But if you ever get a chance to watch it, if you've got the network, I'm sure it's King of the Ring 2000. But it's Shane O'Mac versus Kurt Angle in the
Oh
street
yeah, man.
fight.
Yeah, it's a great
Yeah.
match. Yeah, I've seen that.
Oh,
Yeah, watched that pay
Kurt,
per view.
Kurt Angle's got no right to be in a match like
Yeah,
that. That was just.
thank you.
Although to be fair, I think Shane took most of the punishment, did he? But
Yeah, I think that
like,
like 3 matches that night cut as well. Like he done like the
mm,
King of the Ring tournament.
yeah.
Nuts. And yeah, no, that's one of the ones. Like I've watched the documentary about that as well, about them going through the glass for the belly to belly, and it's just like
Like
fuck.
3 times.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know if you swear, but yeah, it's scary.
Yeah, the first time Shane hits it, he just slides down, doesn't
Aye,
he? Oh my days.
that
Poor
was.
Shane.
I think like one of the first like pay per views I seen, funnily enough, was like the King of the Ring '99, the year before, the year Billy Gunn
Very good.
won it.
Yeah.
It was one of my introductions to pro wrestling as a child. So good to-
Danny Ass. Danny Ass set
yeah,
them up.
still going strong.
Oh, again, talking of promos though, I think they claimed
Oh,
smashed it very much so.
yeah, they're just so good. Like they're another one people see and they're like, oh, it's too goofy and it's overrated, but it's just amazing. Like, every time he comes out, I'm like turning the TV up. I'm like, oh, what's he gonna say? What's he gonna run up about? He's so
That's it.
like
I
that.
mean, that's it. But that's when you can tell it's over. I think it was referencing books again. I think Mick Foley said in his book, you can tell when a wrestler is over because they can get the most stupidest thing, you know,
Yeah,
kind of thing. It's like, you know, he mentioned Mr. Socko, The Rock with the People's Elbow, Scotty Too Hotty with the Worm. You know,
mhm.
I think there's obviously like more modern examples. But yeah, the Acclaim, the whole Sesame thing, it's
Yeah.
just, if you're over, it's, you know, you're getting, you can do
It's
the
just
stupid thing and fans will cheer it.
if you to like show somebody who like never seen wrestling like a clip for one of their crowds when they come out and it's just like all the signs like these like 5-year-old kids and like scissor me daddy ass t-shirts. It's like such a like you'd show someone who doesn't know wrestling and they'd be like, what's going on? It's so good. Like I love it so much.
But
Uh,
that's some of the best stuff for me. It's like, you know, if you sat there and you think if somebody walks in on this now, I'm just gonna be like, oh, for God's sake.
yeah, it's like how
You
do you
know,
explain that to somebody who doesn't know? That's what I love about it. It's such a like inside thing.
but I think all wrestling fans can relate to people who don't watch wrestling. You know,
Yeah.
when they hear about stuff like this or see something about it, or it gets, you know, on the internet, and they're just like, "You watch this?" I'm like, "Yeah, God, yeah, of course I watch this. This is
Oh
freaking
yeah.
awesome." And they
I
just
feel
look at you like,
yeah. I feel sorry for people who don't watch it. I'm just like listening to people talk about football and stuff, and I'm like, that sounds so boring, man. Like, what's your problem?
"Yeah, that's
Like,
how I know." Not besmirching anyone who enjoys like boxing and stuff, but
that's
you
weird,
know,
isn't it?
I like it's just like it bores me. But I don't know. Obviously, that's because my brain's now trained, you know, for the
Yeah,
whole wrestling thing. So I expect something to happen every minute or something because
yeah. Soap opera.
yeah. But yeah, I try watching boxing and I'm just like sports.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
that's it,
And,
man.
yeah, I got a load of mates who stay up till 6 o'clock to watch a boxing play box office kind of thing, and then laugh at me because I stay up till 1 o'clock to watch wrestling. Like, at least I know I'm going to get entertained. You
Yeah,
know, at least
yeah. Even with like boxing and stuff now, you're starting to see it like change to all these like personalities instead of like actual boxers. You've got like KSI and Jake Paul like running about like fighting people. Whereas like fair play to them, like they're doing good and stuff, but like it just shows like it's all about like characters these days. Like it's people who draw money. Like you can be like two of the best fighters in the world, but if nobody cares about you, then that's it.
that's it. But that's the heel face dynamic in it kind of
Yeah,
thing. Like if nobody cares enough about you to see you, who willing to pay to see you punched in the face,
Mhm.
You're not going to get any money. It's like I said, yeah. I mean, obviously, you look at Conor McGregor in UFC, for God's sake. The one of the biggest characters outside of wrestling in recent years. Yeah, I'm pretty certain he's going to end up in WWE at some point.
Yeah.
He's got
Once
that character, hasn't he?
run dry.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, it's I think like say boxing and UFC, the bigger the character, the more money they pull, and I think that's very much highly influenced by wrestling. I think they've kind of picked up on that.
Definitely. Like even like Chael Sonnen back in the day, like with the Anderson Silva fights and all that, like he used to like just be a heel pretty much in the press conferences. Like even in his podcast and stuff, like he admits it. Like he'd have lost like 2 fights before, and he'd be like, "Nah, I never lost. I'm undefeated." Stuff like that. And like people like bought into him because he was just being over the top stupid, and it's just what he needed to be.
Well, it's like the Kurt Angle when he got choked out by Taz and he refused to acknowledge the defeat because it was a choke. It's like, no, I'm still undefeated. It didn't happen. It's like it's total heel work. It's like, yep, no, fuck him. That's it. That's awesome.
Definitely.
So, so you're watching pretty much wrestling all day, all the time at the minute. What's your favourite stuff to watch at the minute? Obviously, we've got WWE, you've got AEW. Do you check out like the New Japan's British stuff as well? Or?
I'd say like mainly like main two are like AEW and WWE. I'm more into like them compared to New Japan. Like I watch the odd like kind of like New Japan match, but like I'm not like as big into it because that's like purely just like hard hitting wrestling. Well, I think like it's cool, but like after 6 matches of that, I'm a little bit like, not
Got a
bored,
bit of
but
variety, don't you? Yeah,
but
bit
like
of
I like
variety.
over the top production shows. So I'd say like WWE, AEW are probably the main two. I like just even watching like your kind of darks and dark elevation on YouTube because it's like short little 10-minute TV matches. Like they're good to kind of study and take stuff from just because it's like short matches, good wrestlers and stuff in it, and it's like all TV kind of where some of the matches you see on like AEW, like Dynamite or Rampage, are like 25-minute long and have like 1,000 spots in them, and I'm just like, oh, there's no way I could ever like even try study that. So I like watching like you're kind of like shortened down shows as well for kind of learning wrestling. Yeah, I'd say they're like my kind of go-tos.
That's cool. I must be. I haven't. It's just the time is straight with me, but I did try and watch Dark when it first started. I used to watch it every week. I think it was like an hour when it first started, but to like 3 hours or something crazy now, and it was like 20 matches on there or something.
Yeah, I mind in the pandemic it got to that. I think it's chilled out now. I think because they do it live again, but it's like I think 40 minutes or an hour. It's something. It's not as
Okay,
bad.
that's cool. I might
So during the pandemic, 20 matches. They were just like, let's give everybody a chance. But,
you can't afford
not bad.
to letting people work, I suppose. But yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. I never really thought about, from a outside looking in kind of perspective of, like say, the 10-minute matches is probably going to be more relatable to what you would do a show kind of thing. So obviously, you can't let all the guys have like 30-minute matches because the show would be like hours long or something.
Definitely, yeah. Like I think there's people who do try to go out and like wrestle 10-minute matches like it's a 30-minute match, and crowds just get confused with what's going on. So it's good to take the kind of like TV like toned down matches, and it's all like kind of smoke and mirrors. I think they are the best type of matches to have, really, man.
Yeah, well, that's cool. But it's good to, like I say, it's good to have that under your belt. But if you need to do a 25-minute, 30-minute match, you know the difference between the two, so you're not going to get confused in that sense.
Yeah. I've done like with like kind of companies like Mega Slam and stuff. It's usually like 15, 20 minutes. I'd say you're out there matches, but you do get a lot of shows where it's like 8 to 10 minutes. So it just depends really where you're at.
That's cool. Well, obviously, talk about the difference between 10-minute matches and the longer ones. It's the psychology. You get the crowd worked up. Obviously, you've got to hit that sweet spot quicker in a short match, but you've got to get them pulled in a lot quicker as well, I'd thought. Whereas with a longer match, it's a slower build. You know,
Yeah.
you're building and building. How do you learn the psychology then? Is it sort of something you think you kind of pick up, or is it something you guys talk about? Is it different ways of pulling people in?
For me, I would say like personally, it's just through like getting match experience and like the people who you're in with as well. Like I've been lucky like this year especially to like be on shows with guys like who are at like who've been doing it like 20 years, 25 years. You had like Sticks on the last podcast, been on
Yeah,
shows with him, guys like Martin Kirby. So it's like getting to work guys or like be in locker rooms with guys like that, and also like getting to like hear how they plan and how they do stuff and watching their stuff, and then like going out and doing it weekly as well and just building on it. I'd say it's
yeah.
just kind of a mix of that. It's just like taking in what more experienced guys are doing on the shows, and then just like adding it to kind of your act and what you're doing in the ring.
Do you find yourself watching when you're on a show? Do you watch the other matches that you're not involved in, or are you kind of just stuck in the back, getting yourself psyched up, ready for your match?
I'd say it just depends when I'm on. I always do try and watch like at least one or two matches. If I'm not on like second last, I'll try and watch like the main event.
Yeah,
If I'm on like first or second, if I'm on like vice versa. If I'm on like last, I'll maybe try and watch some of the earlier matches. It's just when you get the chance, when you can see out at some shows. Some shows it's just like a big wall when you can't see, and you're like, oh,
yeah.
I'd like to see this match, but I can't.
Can't do it. How did you? Obviously, you mentioned Sticks there. Yeah, I had him on a few weeks ago. Awesome dude. Thoroughly enjoyed talking to him. How did you find working with him? Was it a
I've
good?
not in like a singles match with Sticks yet. I've just done like
Uh,
6-man tags and like
uh,
battle royals and stuff. But like, even just in that, like he's just so experienced and like backstage and stuff. Just the way he carries himself, like he's such like just like a nice guy, and he's just so good to kind of be around and stuff. It shows. Um,
I'd say he's one of those guys you would obviously want to pick brains off if you had a chance.
yeah, like a fountain of knowledge, man.
So, who would be you sort of say then your top names this year that you've wrestled that have helped you? Obviously, you mentioned some of the guys there. Is there anybody else that you've been in the ring with this year that you would credit
Uh,
as help?
Yeah, man, there's a lot of people. I'd said Kirby there. I've wrestled the guy I said in Sweden again, Victor Volts, Mr. Power Up. He's a guy who's been wrestling for years, wrestling him. He was really experienced, brilliant. Another one I'd say is Alexander Dana, wrestled him. Mega Slam, he's incredible in ring. Like he's another one, been doing it for years, wrestled all over, done like WWE tryouts and stuff like that. So like wrestling guys like that. There's like other names I'm trying to like think of, but it's just
I know,
because I'm
maybe
on the
three.
hot spot. So many
Yeah.
guys, like just even pretty much like try to
How was
think. Like,
Kirby? How did you find Kirby then? Because obviously I'm a massive mark for Kirby. I think that's amazing. I think there's very few as good in the UK technically. I just think he's. I say you kind of credit him as being like a character as well. But for me, I think
yeah,
he's technically sound on the mat. I think he's one of the
oh,
smart wrestlers.
he's like one of like the best like all rounders in the UK, definitely. Again, like I kind of like came into wrestling already a fan of Kirby. I'd like watched him in like WCPW back in the day when I was younger and all that stuff. So I was a bit of a Kirby fan. So like getting to like work on shows with him this year and get to wrestle and stuff, that was like a really cool opportunity. Like he knew I wanted to wrestle him, and I think like everyone there knew I wanted to wrestle him. So when it happened, it was really cool. And yeah, he's a great guy also, like just one of the coolest guys. He's done so much and he's just so like humble and stuff. Just one of the nicest guys in wrestling.
He is, yeah. I've had a few dealings with him with other things, and he's always has been like sort of saying, actually, sort of salt
Yeah.
of the earth. And I was gutted when he kind of retired, but then
Oh
obviously
yeah.
he came and it was like, yeah, here we go, hit the ground running, and he seems to be doing as well as he was before. Any guys out there that are on that make the list that you would like to step into the ring with?
Going back to, I was kind of thinking about this the other week. For like next year, I'd like to get that singles with sticks in. That's one was high up on the list. There's a few guys in Scotland I'd like to wrestle. Guys like I train with. Coming up who are really good. Sammy Sparks from like Target Wrestling. That's the name. Judas Gray trains with like Joe Hendry. He's done like Wrestle Carnival. These are kind of like new names who are coming up. I'd like to get time in the ring with next year. Trying to think as well. I've literally got a list somewhere, but I've on the spot now. I'd like to get in the ring with some more guys kind of down England way. There's guys I've seen on shows at Megaslam. Chris Bronson. He's coming up in England. He looks really good. Trying to think who else. Yeah, it's hard. I don't know why. On the spot.
Joey Hayes.
To be fair, too many wrestlers.
So we mentioned Kirby. I think we've mentioned Kirby. We've got mentioned Joey Hayes as well.
Yeah, the Models are great tag team. Yeah, I'd like to. I've not really met them, but I'd like to get on shows with them and hopefully wrestle them one day. But yeah, there's so much like that kind of like English side now and Scottish side where like so many guys want to wrestle. Guys I want to wrestle again. Like I want to wrestle Andy Wilde again. I wrestled him at the end of last year in Scotland. I'd like to do another match with him. He's great. Lou King Sharp, I'd like to get back in the ring with him. He's one of the guys who trained me. So yeah, there's so many like good kind of guys in the UK scene to get in with. I think who else? Oh yeah,
I'd pay money to see you against Rampage.
Me against Rampage. Yeah, I'd need paid money to wrestle Rampage. He's big. I need a lot of money to wrestle Rampage. Nah, I reckon that'd be a good match. I'd love to wrestle Rampage Brown. He's amazing as well. I think I've like briefly met him at shows when I was starting out, and he seemed really nice as well. I thought he had another good character one. Amir Jordan, he's back on the UK scene. He's another one I'd like to like step in the ring with. I think character wise that'd be a funny one.
Yes, yeah, I think there's a few guys. I think Liam Slater is very highly regarded at the minute as well. I think he'll be up there. But yeah, I saw Amir Jordan a few months ago at 1PW in Doncaster. It was cool to see him back. Obviously not cool for him, but it was cool for the fans seeing him back in the UK kind of thing, doing on promotions. But yeah, I think that'd be a good match as well. It'd be a good merging of styles kind of thing. So
that's another one I thought of. Gene Money, he'd be a good one to go in with character wise. I like his stuff.
Yeah, I like you sort of said that, man. It's just such a massive well of talent. I think now,
that's why across the board. Wrestle. It's like Overdrive.
That's a list of people's names. Just be like, But man, yeah. Hopefully, obviously, like I said, you've progressed this. You've developed from this year, from last year. Next year, going to be the curve is an upward curve, and you get even more matches in. Hopefully, is it too early in your career for a title belt? So you're pushing for that kind of thing next year? Do you think?
I'd won I was a former tag team champion in a company called Respect Pro Wrestling, what was a company in Scotland. Had just shut down earlier this year. Unfortunately, the promoter retired and didn't really follow up wrestling. But I was a tag team champion there. But I would like to win more championships and stuff. Now I just love wrestling. It's something I don't focus too much on because I feel it's something I can't help too much. But yeah, to have someone put that trust in you and want to put a title on you, that'd be a good feeling, yeah. And the one time it has happened, it was lovely to be in that position.
It's just a sign of appreciation, is it? It's kind of you can sort of credit it as being okay, this guy's trusting me to do this job.
It's a nice bonus, I'd say, at the end of the day.
Yeah. So, obviously, man, I'm getting a massive vibe. Just wrestling in general, massive fan of it. Who are your top guys at the minute that if you see that they've got a match, you have to watch it. You know, international or British or anywhere across the scene. Have you got like? I'm a massive geek for top fives. So I'm going to ask you, like, if you had a top five of wrestlers, and you saw that they had a match, you would definitely watch it. It's like, you know, if I see an actor is in a film, I'm watching that film. Same
Yeah.
sort of thing.
I'd say that now, like, is it all time or just like current day?
I'll take that now. Current sort of thing.
Current.
Who's
Okay.
out about at the minute that's got your attention?
All right. I'd say like match wise, where I'm like, okay, he's wrestling. I really need to watch. Like the first one's MJF. I've covered that. Second one, I'd say Roman Reigns kind of being next to that, just because like he's another one who's not weekly wrestling. When he does wrestle, it's like a bigger deal now. And every match he's had recently has been top notch. So I'd say he's on that list. FTR, I'd put them on that list. I don't know if you're a fan. I've seen your face
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
Oh, do you
No,
like
no,
them?
that was a smile.
I thought you were like, ah, but you're
No,
more
no,
like,
no, no, no.
yeah, I thought I
No,
offended you.
no, no, no.
But yeah, I'd say like they're guys as well, like tag team wise, like every time they wrestle, it's just like a spectacle. The Briscoe match, every match they've had, like just this year in AEW, it's been amazing. So that's three. I've given you last two. That's a hard one. Oh, I think in AEW. I'd say Jericho is
I
on
was
that
about to say, what about Jericho? Because
Yeah,
he's consistently having bangers at the minute.
yeah. I love Jericho at the minute. Like people again, it's like very mixed with Jericho, but like just that whole like posse he has, like the whole Jericho appreciation thing, all the like little characters and stuff. Like I think that's some of the best
Magic.
things that EW's had. Like the 2.0, yeah, they're amazing. So
He's
just
just gold. I can't take my eyes off him. The thing is, it's distracting. Obviously, it's intentional. It keeps your eyes on him, kind of thing. You know,
yeah.
just a little movement to things that it's like Sammy does it. You know, it's just
Mhm.
even if he doesn't have the mic, he's constantly moving or doing something, and you just look, your eyes just go like that, and it's like, I'm trying to look over here. But yeah,
Oh yeah, that's so good. Like even the like Jack Swagger hat thing is going on at the minute. Like it's just like things that are just like taking a life of their own out, like the one faction. Like so many little things. It's just so good. So yeah, Jericho's definitely up there. And I'm trying to think the last one. It's a hard one. I'm just scared to miss anyone out. That's the thing. So listen to it back. I'm like, I should have said that guy.
You always will do, man. That's why just go with your gut. Your top,
Uh-huh.
your first five that come into your head. That's it. But I'll try and. Well, you can blame me then for this one. But I'll try and swing it the other way. What about like say Sami Zayn's, Kevin Owens?
Owens
Guys,
is a big one, but I wouldn't say like Owens as much recently. I do like what he's doing recently, but like I'd say like Owens NXT kind of run, like one of my favourite kind of guys. He is definitely up there. I was thinking like Kingston might be another one, like maybe not even wrestling wise, Eddie Kingston, but just like emotionally the way he talks and just like you watch an Eddie Kingston like promo for like a random 6-man tag and it's like a 3-minute promo. And by the end of it, like you don't know anything about going into it. By the end of it, you come out here like, oh shit, I need to see that match. He's gonna murder someone. Like he's definitely a guy where I'm like, oh right, I want to watch him wrestle. He's technically maybe not everyone's favourite or the best, but he's just you're gonna get a fan.
The Duke can throw suplexes. I don't think he relies on it. I don't think he relies on it a lot, but I think it's technically sound, but yeah, you just know somebody's getting a beating. A couple of weeks ago when you had Ishii versus Jericho and the chest spots, Eddie was just sat in the back, just absolutely like, oh my god, his big smile on his. It's like that's the first time I've ever seen somebody's chest bleed from chops.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Like when you see the matches, like them just non-stop chopping each other, man. Like, I think it was like Kingston and Bryan, their match on Rampage. I think it was either this year or late last year, like where they just murdered each other, man. It was so good. Like, so I feel like people, like, yeah, matches like that always get you into it as a fan.
Yeah.
That you watch. Oh, God.
I think obviously, yeah, you're totally right, because like the whole Sheamus Gunther thing from the the Castle pay-per-view,
Oh, yeah.
5 stars, people raving about it. I've got mates who have watched that match 4 or 5 times. And it's just like I say, just an old-fashioned, very un-WWE,
Mhm.
legitimate fight.
Oh,
It
yeah.
looked like.
I seen that match for the first time in like a pub because I'd done a show and there was like went to a pub after it to watch it, and like the audio was like very low to the point like you couldn't really hear anything, but like
Right.
even you could still hear like the slaps just like slightly coming through the TV. And we like just by the visuals, we were like, oh my God, like they're killing each other, man. Like, and then you watch it with the sound on, and you're like, oh, it's yeah, ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was probably the best match this year, WWE wise.
Yeah, I would say. I think it's cool because it's brought Sheamus to a lot of people's attention, because I think he was flying under the radar. We did like a spotlight episode on him a while ago, because
Yeah,
I'll hold my hands up. I was probably in that boat where I just kind of underappreciated. But I think he's one of those guys that you can look at. You go back and look at his body of work, and he's
yeah,
always delivers. He's
yeah.
just
He's
kind
just been consistent for so long. Like he's been around for years. At this point, it's like he's easy to like forget because how long he's been around. But like this year, he kind of resurfaced just due to having like that match with Walter. It was like so hard hitting. But like even when you watch like his matches with like Cesaro back in the day,
oh
and
yeah,
like
yeah.
even was having with like Drew last year, like they're just like killing each other. Like some of the strikes, it's so good to watch. Like so intense and hard hitting. Yeah.
I mean, like that spot where he's on the ropes and he's just slowing down on
Uh
the chin. It's just you just hear it, and it's just like obviously I don't know. I mean, obviously you can watch that and be like, oh,
yeah.
kind of know from experience just how the contact feels. But yeah, as a fan, you still even we're like, oh, hell.
Yeah,
So,
no.
do you find obviously since you wrestling and stuff like that, do you watch wrestling differently? And I speak to some people who tried really hard just to watch wrestling and keep it and just watch it as a fan. I know I made a comment earlier about like studying certain things. Do you find, can you switch off and on when you're watching wrestling? When you're
Yeah.
doing it for educational purposes or you're doing it for entertainment purposes?
Yeah, like I don't like to sit, as I said like earlier, I don't like to sit with like a notepad out and like write down everything I seen what was wrong. Like there will be times I'm watching it and you'll pick up something or you'll maybe like catch something out. But like I don't sit with the intention to just like shit all over it. Like I don't get that personally. Like I know people do that, but I'm just like, why? Like just go and watch something else. Like I wouldn't watch a movie to go and be like write down, oh, this was shit, this was shit. So I
Yeah,
try just to enjoy it for like that side. But yeah, like if I see something where I'm like, oh, that was cool, I'd like to maybe like do something like that, but work my stuff in. So it's all just that. I try to just watch it and like get ideas from it instead of like critiquing other people's stuff. Really.
but you're doing it that way. I suppose you're still able to just enjoy it. Like you say, you're focusing on
Yeah,
the good.
yeah,
Yeah, if you see something you don't like, don't dwell on it. Or you focus
yeah,
on the stuff you do like. You can be like, okay, yeah, cool, cool. I'll remember that for
yeah.
that's cool. Because I can't even imagine, but it must be very hard to you know, yeah, switch your brain off sometimes, and it just still just be a fan. You've kind of been allowed into the secret garden. You know how it works, and then to watch it.
I think sometimes like cause wrestling's always like changing and like evolving as well, but where you just always like see stuff like constantly like blows your mind. Where like I always watch something on TV and like there's never like an episode of like AEW or WWE. There's like not anything on it where I see something. I'm like, oh, that's great, that's genius. Like how's nobody thought of that kind of thing? So yeah, like it's just one of the kind of sports was never gonna like grow old. I think it's kind of timeless, really.
I think it's
You
like the best thing I can think of that recently is like, well, it's not recently, but like 10 years ago now. But when I first saw Petey Williams hit the Canadian Destroyer,
Oh, yeah.
like the first time you ever saw that move, yeah, I mean, must have rewound it about 20 times. It's been like trying to figure out, you know, just but it's like everybody's doing them now, and it's like but I'm just waiting for that next thing now. But yeah, just
Yeah, I remember like the Destroyer as a kid. Like I thought that was like I was showing it to my friends in school. I like kind of grew up watching TNA because I didn't have Sky at the time, so I found
yeah,
TNA like old WWE guys and stuff like that. Then I seen like the Canadian Destroyer, and I was like, oh my god, like how's that guy not dead? And then you start wrestling, and like even I can do one now, and you're like, it's just not even right, man. Like it's crazy. Like everyone does them. I feel bad for Petey Williams, but it's like, yeah, it just shows like 10 years ago that was like the impossible move. And now, like, yeah, MD can kind of pick up and do it.
well,
Not
Bad
MD.
Bunny's doing it.
Yeah, it's like, it's just all smoke
But
and mirrors.
it still makes me pop. I think it was like, you know, Jungle Boy against Luchasaurus when Jungle Boy jumped off the chair and hit it. I think that's the next step now. Is they kind of added a spring to it, haven't they?
Yeah, the
You know,
transitions into doing it. It's like the new who can do it the coolest way. I've seen even like the Young Bucks one time doing it like through 3 tables off the top rope, like into I think it was against like the Lucha Bros, and it's just like just adding layers to it. It's crazy.
But yeah, I was waiting for the next move. But yeah, I'm exactly the same as you, dude. I used to be massive fan of TNA. I didn't have access to WWE, so yeah, you know, we're talking like this was the peak of TNA when you had the Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, X Division stuff going on.
My childhood, yeah, definitely. That was like, yeah, they were my 3 guys growing up. Like I knew the guys, but then I found them and I was like, oh, they're amazing, like they're the best kind of thing.
Yeah, I think TNA doesn't get credit for that. I think that time period was absolutely generally some of the best wrestling in the world. Just what was going on, kind of thing. It was just, although it kind of reminds me of from what I've heard of like the WCW in the late '90s when you had guys like Jericho, Jericho, Mysterio, Eddie, you know, Malenko, Benoit stealing the show, and the main event was, you know, the main event was the main event. It was cool. But the actual wrestling was just like, you know, you had those guys smashing it. And that's what, you know.
Jeff Jarrett and Sting to take it home.
Yeah, it was just like, you know what, it is what it is. I enjoyed Sting in TNA.
But I'm like, they're still going strong these days. But yeah, I get what you mean. It's like they're at the top of the card. Well, like the bottom of the card, are like all these guys killing each other, getting like standing ovations, and then they go out and like have an old school match, take it home.
But again, you know, there's a spot for everything. Yeah, it's all selective. So, dude, I can see that we've hit the 1 hour mark. I will wrap it up. I'm going to give you a couple of names. So if I say Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels, you have to pick one. Who are you picking out of them two if you had to pick one?
Bret Hart, I'd say.
Quick fire. Austin and The Rock.
The Rock.
MJF Moxley.
MJF.
Even better one. MJF Miz. Ooh.
MJF, yeah. I'd say yeah. MJF, yeah.
Good man. Good man. Seth Rollins, John Moxley.
Rollins.
Very cool.
Oh yeah, Rollins fan. It's cool.
Yeah, again, you're talking characters. I think the guy just embodies everything that he's given. And absolutely smashes it out of the park. Cool, good answers. I'm glad you picked MJF over the Miz. I don't have to, not publish this.
That's my change.
Oh really? He's definitely somebody that kind of. There's a few of us that do these shows, and one of the guys absolutely loves the Miz, and the other guy detests him. You even mentioned the Miz, and he's just like fucking rah rah. I'm like, it's fine. But yeah, absolutely hates the Miz. But yeah, and then I've got one of my other mates. Yeah, absolutely loves him. So I think he's definitely a Marmite kind of person, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%.
But I think MJF is the right answer. I just think Jeff has the better promos.
I think
I think he's 26, any kind of thing. So
yeah, he's doing stuff that's going to be remembered for like a long time. Like I can genuinely see him going to Hollywood soon and just like being a megastar and just being like bigger than wrestling. And like, I think the run he's on there now is going to be like remembered. So it's cool to like watch that unfold, everything he's doing.
That's it. So good luck to him if he does it. Do you want to give a shout out to your socials? Do you want to do some plugging?
Yeah, I'm pretty much on everything: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I even made a TikTok. I don't know much about TikTok, but yeah, I know like people like that. So if you're interested to follow me on any of them, it's Big Strong Man PW. On all of them at Big Strong Man PW. I think that's right.
Oh, that's useful because usually you find you have to have one name for this, one name for that.
That's something I learned early in when I was getting a graphic. I was like, oh shit, I need to change. So yeah.
Good man. That's awesome. Yeah, I must admit, I tried the whole TikTok thing, and I think I just ended up watching Will Smith and The Rock TikToks for hours on end, and just ended up having to delete it because wasn't going to bed at night.
Yeah, I just can't get into it. Like it's the whole like kind of outlook of it's just like I'm used to Twitter. I don't know. I'm just like
oh, I never made any TikToks. I was just kind of just watching all these kind of
it's just like that.
Oh, did it? Yeah, it's just a window. It's like a rabbit hole. You just go down. You start watching. It's like when you go on YouTube and you watch one video and it suggests this one. You're like, oh, okay, I'll watch that one, and then that's it. You're done for. Next thing you know, it's 2 days later. So, dude, thank you so much for coming on. It's been awesome talking to you. Well, obviously, have a catch up somewhere down the line. See, obviously, how it's going. But yeah, man, best of luck. So it sounds like obviously I said at the start, it's a massive upwards, curve. Hopefully, we'll get, see you down here at some point, around the north. So if you ever venture down to Leeds, let me know.
Yeah, I've done a few shows Leeds, so fingers crossed next year.
Oh, sweet. Okay, I've been out of the loop for a while. I haven't actually been to shows. I just was out of it for a couple of years, so I didn't go to any sort of shows. So was it like Tidal or some?
It's mostly like every time I've been Leeds wrestling, it's been like Mega Slam. They do a lot of shows Leeds, like done shows in Leeds. I think I've done shows in like Pudsey as well in Leeds. Is like Harrogate and stuff like that, like surrounding Leeds.
Oh, sweet.
But
I didn't realise. I should totally have known that. For some reason, just drawing a blank. Oh, sweet. Okay, well, next time I know Mega Slam's in the area, I'll get it plugged and I will get a ticket. So, sweet. Dude, thank you so much. We'll wrap this up and thank you for watching. Hit like, subscribe, do the normal generic stuff, and I will see you all very soon. I'm just going to stop recording, dude, and I'll say